6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. When the day I die, and if I get a chance to talk to God, I'm going to say, gosh, of all the things that I went through, my favorite thing that you allowed me to experience was being a father. I am not just saying that to sound whatever, but it is. It was truly. I mean, my son is now 28. It doesn't change just because he's an adult. But those days when he was really, really little, it was. There was nothing in my life compared to that. Anything that I had ever done before it or after it, it's just one of those beautiful things. And Robin, I remember we had this discussion once about talking to the children, how when your children were little, you didn't baby talk to them. You just talked.
Exactly.
You just spoke to them. And I remember doing the same thing with Alex. Tovah P. Klein has written a book that you're going to love. She is referred to as the toddler whisperer. Now, I wasn't a toddler whisperer, like some people are the horse whisperer to all the horses.
Yes.
But I had one toddler that I could communicate with, and he was my son. Mm-hmm. She's on Good Morning America. We were watching something yesterday with her on there.
Yeah, that was cool.
So it's at Sonata that she's coming on our show. She writes for the New York Times, for Redbook, for parents. Her book is called How Toddlers Thrive, What Parents Can Do Today for Children ages 2 to 5 to Plant the Seeds of Lifelong Success. I'm a true believer in doing as much as you can as far as education when they're really, really young. Mm-hmm. I remember before this whole fad of, not fantasy, but fad of, teaching children in preschool, right?
Yeah.
Pre-preschool and all that. I was doing that at home.
Oh, me too.
I was teaching alphabet. I know. So
My
I think
folks were too back in the 50s.
And I think that's pretty much the way of the world, except for people who say, well, they don't have to learn until they get to kindergarten, and that was a bad thought in the first place. Not the kindergarten, but thinking that you had to wait till then. Tovah, good morning, Tovah. What an honor to have you on our show. Good morning.
Oh, well, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York City.
Nice.
How is it? Cold right now?
It's a little colder than where you are.
Yeah.
I love New York City.
Yeah.
And I do too. And when my son was younger, I took him to New York City. So he feels a connection now with the city because that's where I grew up. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I wanted him to see, where Daddy grew up. So, and where Grandpa worked. Grandpa was a policeman up there in the city. So tell me about the book and tell me about yourself.
So I am, actually my background is in psychology, and I've had the pleasure of running the Barnard College Center for Toddler Development for over 20 years now. And it's a place that's all about young children, and we do research there. The children come for, like a preschool because they're between 1.5 and 3. And we have students who are learning there about early development. So I've basically immersed myself in every way I can in the world of young children, and because of that, young children and parents. Because where there's young children, there's parents who really are looking for support and guidance to do the best they can. So that's what I do. Why do they
call you the toddler whisperer? What do you? What happens between you and the little ones that doesn't happen to everybody?
Right. Well, my 3 own children would be the first to tell you I don't whisper all the time. But I think it came about because I spend so much time living in that toddler world and thinking about who are toddlers, but who is this toddler at any given moment, and what are they doing, and why are they doing it? Because that helps us then understand what young children need. That when I move into their space, I can, either diffuse a situation or give a sense of empathy. That can be difficult with toddlers because it's sometimes very perplexing what their behavior is. And from an adult point of view, we can misunderstand what they're doing.
Do you know, when we look at little children like that, we often say to ourselves, gosh, what potential they have? What are they going to be? And I've often wondered something. I don't know if this is a theological question or a philosophical question, but do you think we're born with a blank slate, or do you think we come into this world with some kind of a talent or some kind of like you like certain things and you don't like certain things, and the other baby has other things? Or are we a blank slate and we learn those things somewhere along the way? What is your thought on that?
This is the age-old question, but It's a combination of the two. The baby comes into the world, and everybody knows this who has either had a child of their own, and certainly if you've had multiple children. They come into the world bringing a certain orientational or a way of being. I call it a style. Some people say temperament. But then there's lots of room for input, and the brain is just ripe for connecting and development and taking it in. And during the toddler years, the brain is going through unbelievably rapid growth and change, and the toddler's taking it all in, what they see, what they hear, what they experience, how they play and interact in the world. That's all molding who they become, but they come in with a base that's ready for that, and they come in with their particular stance in that. And that's the reality of children being who they are.
I think, though, that the children are given negativity when they're young, when parents and family and friends refer to the terrible twos. If people would talk to me about them, I would say they don't exist in my children, the terrible twos. I really hated that label.
Yeah, and I've been saying, when people ask me about it, I say, well, that's a myth, but it's a little more complicated than that, because I think it's a myth that children are being bad just to be bad. Where the term, I think, resonates is that parents can be very challenged by 2 or 3 or 4-year-olds. And we have to recognize that, oh, yeah, this is challenging. I thought this might be easy or all joyful. There's plenty of joys in raising young children, but those 2-year-olds in particular, but into 3, 4, are just figuring out who they are. And that's the first moment of saying, aha, I have my own ideas.
Right.
You want me to drink out of a yellow cup, but I only want blue.
Exactly.
So
they're learning.
They're learning. And so it's not that hard, really, to say, do I need to battle this one? I think parents always feel disrespected. No, I set up the table with a yellow cup, and you must have it. It actually, you can say, oh, you really need a blue cup? Have it. Because there's other times that you're not going to give in, like when your child bolts to the street, you're going to move quickly to grab them and say, never. I'm not going to ever let you do this. But there's other times that you can say, oh, you want to wear the blue shirt today? Sure. And that's what empowers a child to say, hey, I can make my own choices. But you're not going to give them 10 shirts to choose from. You're going to give them 2. So the term terrible, I think, comes from the parent's side of feeling like, boy, I really feel like I don't know what to do.
So when you're working with toddlers, do you have to kind of know? Oh, let me ask it a different way. Let's say I was working with 15-year-olds. And let's say I'm a Boy Scout leader or something, and I say to them, how many of you guys like baseball? And, I like that. How many of you like art? Oh, I like art. You'd have the kids who have the different likes. Does that same thing happen as at the toddler point? Or are children that young literally more excited about something than something else simply because for some reason? I don't even know if we know the reason, which kind of goes back to the blank slate question a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think with toddlers, it's more moment to moment, right? 15-year-olds, although there's a lot of similarities between toddlers and teens, truthfully, because they're both points of figuring out who I am.
Yeah.
But 2-year-olds live much more moment to moment, so they have likes and dislikes, but they haven't really figured out fully who they are. It's not sort of a thoughtful, I've played baseball and I enjoy it. So it's much more reacting to the moment. And, often parents can be perplexed by this idea that, I took her to this indoor gym and she loved it on Monday, and I took her back Tuesday and said, you'll love it, and she wouldn't get off my lap. It's hard to know why. Maybe you were active that day. Maybe she was tired. So they're much more moment to moment, which requires the adults to take a step back and say, if my child needs to cling to me right now, this won't be forever.
The part of the intro that says the seeds, planting the seeds of lifelong success, that's the part that intrigues me, and it's the part I absolutely believe. So let's take a little break, and we'll continue our conversation with Tovah P. Klein up in freezing cold New York.
Yeah.
You could have come to Florida.
That would be nice.
I'm an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Mostly cloudy today with a shower in spots, high 68 to 78. Tonight and tomorrow, mainly cloudy with a shower at a few locations. A low tonight 50 to 58. Tomorrow's high 69 to 79. And then as we get into Thursday, mostly cloudy with a brief shower or two. Could be a couple of thunderstorms near the coast with a high Thursday between 66 and 77. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Since selfies are often shot from below, the neck looks either fattier or saggier from that angle. So more people are seeking under the chin or double chin lipo, chin implants, and neck lifts to remove excess skin. Sleep on it. Trying to force a resolution when you're both exhausted can make things worse. So try tart cherry juice if you have any issues with joint pain or inflammation, and you just might sleep better too.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, 16 minutes after 11 o'clock, our guest has to run. I didn't realize this until the break. Okay, so I have the book. It's called How Toddlers Thrive. Tovah P. Klein is who you would look up on Amazon and all the other booksellers, and the website is her name, Tovah Klein, TOVAHKLEIN.com. And I'm so sorry, Tovah, I didn't realize we had to wrap it up quickly. Do you want to give us any other information about getting the book?
Yeah, well, you've given it. I also have a website, howtoddlersthrive.com, and people can sign up for an e-newsletter there. The next one is going to be on eating and feeding.
Okay.
Which is a hot-button issue often for parents and young children.
Okay. Tovah, thank you so much for being on the air with us. Have a great day and life, and come back. You're always welcome back, okay?
Great. I would love to. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a little break, and we will be right back as well. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Guy Harvey Checking is now exclusively available at Gateway Bank. With Guy Harvey Checking, you will receive Gateway's premium checking account, plus several other Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation features, including membership to the Guy Harvey Hammerhead Nation, free Guy Harvey t-shirt, and an exclusive Guy Harvey debit card. At Gateway Bank, we will make a $50 donation to the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation for every new account opened. This is just one more reason why people choose Gateway Bank. Sign up today for your exclusive Guy Harvey checking account with Gateway. Details available at gatewaybankcfl.com, member FDIC.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA.
19 minutes after 11 o'clock, a little overcast. Looks like it wants to rain out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. We have a couple of things. The state of Florida has some money, and they want to spend it, and there's a debate. Not that I want to get into it right now, but I'm just letting you know. This is about how to spend the money that is going to be used for environmental programs. Florida voters last November, just a few months ago, approved Amendment 1, which earmarked billions of dollars for conservation, and now they're trying to decide what to do with the money.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is.
With tongue-in-cheek, they're trying to figure out, now that they got the money.
They're going to, not do it for what they had the money for.
Well, that's the pessimist, I guess, in you, but it may not be necessarily the case. Let's see. The measure left it up to the legislature and the governor to determine details of how the money will be spent.
Oh, gee.
And that's why there's a debate right now. Governor Rick Scott is proposing that the legislature allocate $150 million for the Everglades, $50 million for the springs, including Silver and Rainbow Springs, by the way. Another $150 million or more for conservation land acquisition. So far, that's $350 million. That's not even close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
The legislature convenes on March 3rd. What has raised the ire of the conservationists is the portion of the amendment that proposes spending $63 million for the operations of the Department of Environmental Protection and other agencies.
Oh, gosh.
The authors say voters approved it so the state would buy land and fund water protection projects, not fund state agencies. So
there you go.
more government jobs is what it sounds like they're opposed to. But I still don't get where, if billions of dollars are, or unless they mean over the course of 10 years, maybe that's what it means. There was one thing they can do, and that is give money to private contractors with political pull. That was one comment from one person on the website that I got this from, which I believe was the Tallahassee Democrat.
Wow.
The best thing they could do for the Everglades is evacuate Southeast Florida. That's not a good comment. That's not good. Nature and history have painted them into a corner. You can't propose what's never going to happen. There's a Dutch company that stands to make quadrillions of dollars pumping and reclaiming the land like they've done in Holland.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, really? The land won't be abandoned for another century. This may be the decade to invest in disaster avoidance futures. Well, that's the people who believe in the tides rising.
Yeah.
How much, this is another comment, how much of our taxes are they going to waste trying to figure out how to spend our taxes?
Exactly. I like that. That's funny.
Is another comment. Can't give you a solid number. If I tell you they are proficient wasters, does that make you feel any better? That's a comment on the comment. Here's another one. I voted against this conservation slush fund because I could see where the environmentalists were headed with this if Christ had been elected. Now the left is mad that Scott is dipping into what they consider their money. Oh, that's an interesting comment.
Very interesting.
Here's another comment. This is the exact reason I voted against this. There wasn't even an outline of what they would do with all the money. So now they're just collecting it hand over fist. Don't be surprised when the state starts buying up private waterfront land and starts skimming up your property boundaries. Well, that's already happened.
Oh, certainly.
That has already happened. We had a few stories about that. Here's another one. How about a tall barbed wire topped fence across the northern land border of Florida with armed guards patrolling it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Another one. Since tourists pay a great amount of our sales tax, which ultimately benefits us citizens, as well as provide the basic economic structure for this tourist-driven state, it's probably a good idea to continue to let them visit. You might want to rethink the idea that we don't need tourism.
Gosh.
I don't know what that's talking about.
No.
Sounds like a good idea until you consider the unemployment would double or more in the state. Those tourist dollars pay a lot of paychecks. So anyway, so that's one of the debates going on up in Tallahassee regarding how to spend the money that we voted for. We, the voter, voted for.
Yes.
Back in November. And the only, I mean, it's a self-serving thought, I guess, but the money that's going to be allocated, even if it's $50 million, which that sounds like a lot to the individual, but does it sound like a lot when you talk about cleaning up the rivers?
No.
It doesn't? See,
No.
I don't even know. I can't even fathom $1 million or $50 million. But I mean, if the problems with the Rainbow River and the Silver River can be fixed with money, that money would probably be spent on what? I mean, aside from campaigns to try to persuade people to be better stewards and use fewer chemicals on their lawns, for example, that's where you could spend the money on those campaigns. That would make sense. You know, but what else? I mean, would they put filters up there? Would they put pumps up there? What would they actually do to improve the springs?
Exactly.
And to improve the springs, don't you have to improve the aquifer?
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah,
and
you have to improve
isn't
that.
part of the problem with the aquifer the excessive pumping of water from the aquifer?
That's right.
And is the money going to go to telling the water bottling companies that you can't bottle it anymore? You can't be pumping anymore? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. So really, if you think about it, what would you do with the money to protect the springs other than a campaign? Because you have to get everybody in on this.
Yes.
You and I and millions of other people who use fertilizers on our lawns, and those fertilizers then go into the aquifer, which gets into the river, which then affects the fish population, etc. Okay, so that's where your money could be spent, is on those kinds of campaigns, so that you and I are more aware. It's kind of like the campaign to stop smoking. It's not it's hard to change people's minds, but if you do it long enough, people will start to say, you know what, I like that message. I think I'm going to stop using fertilizers that can hurt the environment, etc. You know.
That's right.
But aside from that, what else could you do, really?
Yeah, exactly. I really agree with what you're saying, because you can't bring a whole load of fish and dump it in the Rainbow River or the Silver River or stuff like that. You just can't do that. You have to nip it in the bud, and that's to talk to the bottling companies. Don't let them bottle the water anymore. Talk to the people that are fertilizing
part of it.
their
Yeah.
lawn. Yeah. So that money is it's a moot point, because money won't fix it.
By the way, speaking of the river, if you get a chance, go to the river. Rent a kayak, rent a canoe.
Yep.
We have such beautiful rivers here, and I know
all rivers, they're gorgeous.
These are beautiful right here. And not just in Marion County, in Florida in general. What Color Springs up in the Tallahassee area, it's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous.
We did a song called "Queen of the Rainbow," and in order to kind of put it on YouTube, you have to make a video. You don't have to, but people don't listen. They like to look and listen.
Yeah.
So we put a simple video. We went out in a canoe, you and I. We each had our cameras. We took some video of basically of the water.
Of the Rainbow River.
Of the Rainbow River,
yes,
sorry. Thank you.
Rainbow River.
And we have this song called Queen of the Rainbow. So we simply took those pictures and we put them together with the song, put it on Facebook, and it's amazing. It's like 6,000 views, which is a lot for us.
Yeah.
Like how many people shared it? A couple hundred people shared it.
People shared it.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate what you have in your own backyard.
And they're sharing it because of one reason. They're looking at that video and they're saying, "Wow, where is that?" Or the people who live in Denellen say, they're proud of it. That's my river.
Exactly.
And in fact, the song says, it says, "Denellen, protect her. Her gift is in your hands. The life of the rainbow is the life of your land."
Exactly.
And I'm not a tree hugger per se. I mean, I think we should be able to cut down trees for lumber, but at the same time, I'm in favor of being a good steward. Steward, what's the word? Steward or steward? Steward. And
Steward.
Whatever the word is.
With a D, steward.
I'm in favor of taking care of things, and making sure we have a good place, so that in the end, your children's children will have a beautiful place to live, just as the place we experienced.
Common sense.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. Common sense.
But when it comes to government, it's usually about money.
Exactly.
And if the money is used in a smart way, then I'm all for it. But I think a lot of these people are onto something when they're being cynical and sarcastic, and they're questioning, especially now that they have the money. How exactly are you going to use it? I think I can wrap my head around what they're going to do with the Everglades more than I can with the rivers here, because with the Everglades they get the Army Corps of Engineers, and they start to undo some of the things they did,
right?
To kind of drain it, to just let the river of grass get back into the business of flowing
and get rid of the invasive species like the snakes and the plants that aren't native.
But it's unclear to me what they want to do for the rivers. But I'm glad that they want to do something. I just hope that they come up with the right idea.
Exactly.
All right, we have a good game with Joe, and just a little bit fun with Joe.
That's right.
It's 42s. All questions about the number 42.
I love that.
There's a reason for this. We'll tell you what it is when we come back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A collision with a vehicle on the tracks derailing a train in Southern California.
Local news reports say there are at least 30 hurt, some critically. It happened about 5:45 local time this morning. A couple of train cars are on their sides. They're almost parallel to each other.
Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers. A fire official saying that the driver of the tractor trailer fled the scene and was apprehended a short time after. A gunman opening fire in a restaurant in the Czech Republic, triggering clashes which left at least 9 people dead. The mayor of the town says the shooter is among those who died. And in the Aaron Hernandez murder trial, a third house cleaner who cleaned the home of the ex-New England Patriots player called to the stand. One of the other cleaners describing guns they'd found stashed in his home in testimony yesterday. During cross-examination, the defense attorney suggesting the testimony was to help get citizenship for them. Fox News, we report, you decide.
You're running your business, and we at Wix.com know things can get stressful. But creating your website doesn't have to be. With Wix, you can create a professional website all by yourself. It's easy and free. You don't have to be a programmer. Just drag and drop everything into place. It's your website, your style. Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website today. It's easy and free.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels, where you'll find everything a business traveler needs, like a generous rewards program. And right now, choose Choice twice for 2 separate trips and get a night at no price. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Free night based on an 8,000-point Choice Privileges Reward night at over 1,500 hotels. Valid 2/19/15 through 4/22/15. Requires registration and 2 separate qualifying stays. Other terms and conditions apply. Details at choicehotels.com.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
Let's give it up for old asphalt and a new pair of shoes. Let's give it up for a good rhythm meeting a sweet melody. For a church cookout under clear skies. Let's give it up for good things coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent.